In this video, we are going to learn about two important gastrointestinal secretions. One is saliva, the next is succus entericus. So first we'll learn about saliva. So these are the topics I'm going to cover under saliva. First, we'll see about the functional anatomy, composition of saliva, formation of saliva, regulation of salivary secretion, functions of saliva, and finally some applied aspects related to salivary secretion. First, let us learn about the functional anatomy of the salivary glands. So, the saliva is nothing but the secretion that is formed by the salivary glands, and then they ultimately drain the secretion into the oral cavity. So, that is saliva. And the three main salivary glands that secrete saliva are parotid gland, submandibular gland, and sublingual gland. So, this picture shows the locations of the three principal salivary glands. So, this is the parotid gland, which is the biggest among the three. So, parotid gland is the biggest gland, and this is the submandibular gland, and this is the sublingual gland. So, parotid gland is situated in front of the ears in the preauricular region. Submandibular gland is associated with the mandible on the inner aspect of the mandible, and sublingual gland is again present on the inner aspect of the mandible below the tongue. So, that's why it is called as sublingual and submandibular gland respectively. Okay, based upon the type of cells they have, the glands can be divided into three types. One is serous type, mucus type, and mixed type. So, there are three types of glands: purely serous, which secrete only serous type of secretion, and second is mucus type, which secrete only mucus type of secretion, and third is mixed type, and these mixed type of glands have both serous cells and mucus cells, and the secretion will be of mixed type containing both serous component and mucus component. So, among these three glands, parotid, submandibular, and sublingual, parotid gland is a purely serous type of gland, whereas submandibular and sublingual glands are mixed type of glands. They produce both serous and mucus type of secretion. Okay, apart from these three principal salivary glands, there are also other glands that are present inside the oral cavity. They are called as buccal glands. So, they are very small glands. They are present within the mucosa of the oral cavity. So, these are the main salivary glands that contribute to the salivary secretion. So, now we will see how does the gland drains their secretion into the oral cavity. So, that happens via ducts. So, it can be a single duct or it can be a multiple duct. So, in case of parotid gland, it opens via a single duct into the oral cavity, and the name of the duct is Stensen duct. So, the name of the parotid gland duct is Stensen duct, and it opens into the inner surface of the buccal area opposite the second upper molar tooth. Okay, so that is the opening point of the parotid gland duct, which is named as duct of Stensen. And coming to the submandibular gland, again it also opens with a single duct into the oral cavity, and the name of the duct is known as Wharton's duct. And this duct opens into the, you can see in the picture, the duct opens into the floor of the mouth on either side of the frenulum of the tongue. So, it opens into the floor of the mouth on either side of the frenulum of the tongue. And whereas the sublingual gland, in contrast to parotid gland and submandibular gland, it opens via many ducts, about 10 to 20. So, it opens via about 10 to 20 ducts into the floor of the mouth. So, that's how the glands drain into the oral cavity. Now, we will see the internal structure of the salivary glands, what is exactly present within the salivary glands. So, the basic functional unit of a salivary gland or any gland is acinus. In plural, it is acini. So, the salivary glands are basically, they are made up of acina system. So, this acina system is nothing but the glandular cells. They are arranged in a globular shape, and they secrete the main component of the saliva. And along with that, there are many duct systems which drain the secretion and ultimately expel the contents into the oral cavity. So basically the structure of salivary glands is made up of acina system and the duct system. First we will see about the acini. So this is the structure of a single acinus made up of, these are the glandular cells. And what are these cells? These cells are called as myoepithelial cells, and these myoepithelial cells are present between the basal lamina and the glandular cell. And the function of these myoepithelial cells is to contract. They have contractile filaments within it, and as a result, as they contract, they will squeeze the acini and help to expel its contents into the ducts. Okay, so basically the acini are made up of glandular cells and the myoepithelial cells, which help in the expulsion of contents into the duct system. And the immediate duct, the duct into which the acini drains, is the intercalated ducts. So these are the intercalated ducts, and further these intercalated ducts will drain into the intralobular duct. This is the intralobular duct, and further the intralobular ducts will drain into the interlobular duct, and finally the interlobular ducts join to form the main duct. So this is the basic structure. See, this is acinus. Acinus will immediately drain into the intercalated duct. Intercalated ducts of many acini join to form the intralobular ducts, and intralobular ducts of many lobules join to form the interlobular ducts, and finally the interlobular ducts join to form the main duct. And if you see, the lining cells are different. So intercalated cells are lined by the cuboidal epithelial cells, whereas the interlobular ducts are lined by the columnar epithelial cells. And the main difference between intralobular and interlobular ducts are that intralobular ducts are lined by a single layer of columnar epithelial cells, whereas interlobular ducts are lined by two layers of cells. Superficially there will be columnar cells, at the base there will be flattened cells. Okay, and again the main duct is also lined by columnar epithelial cells, but at the junction where it drains into the mouth, there alone at that junction alone the duct is lined by squamous epithelial cells.